Hello everyone, I'm Raven from Raven Comics, and today we're going to take a look at the complete story of the Jokers. Just like in other videos, I had previously uploaded this story in parts, but today we'll go through it in full. We begin at Thomas Wayne's grave. Batman arrives in the Batmobile, and for some reason, destroys his father's tomb. As he steps out of the Batmobile and tries to reach the mansion, we see that he's badly injured. Time heals all wounds, if they don't kill you first. Upon entering the Batcave, Batman says he'll fix all the carvings as soon as he fixes them, his parents. As he moves forward, he removes his cowl, and someone takes scissors to cut his suit. That someone is Alfred, who asks how things went this time, why he came back so injured. Through brief flashbacks, we see that the cause of this severe wound was the Penguin. Bruce tells Alfred he did it with an umbrella. But it wasn't just an umbrella. His memories also show the time Bane broke his back, the scar the Riddler left him, and the scratches Catwoman made on his chest. There are also a few gunshots from the Joker that pierced his shoulders. And as he remembers, the one who's caused him the most harm is the Joker. The Joker has used sharp-edged cards to inflict severe wounds and stabbed him in the neck with a bladed weapon. While Alfred is stitching up his wound, Bruce Wayne can't help but recall that laughter. The laughter that's caused countless injuries to his body. We're given more flashbacks, but this time they're from the Monarch Theater. It's a showing of the Mark of Zorro. Someone asks young Bruce why he's laughing, and he replies that it's the greatest movie ever made. Once the movie ends, the Wayne family walks down an alley. Although his parents sense something is off, Martha is unsure about passing through this place. Bruce reassures her, saying everything will be fine and that he'll protect her just like Zorro would. But suddenly, someone appears in front of them. They demand Thomas's wallet and Martha's pearls. Thomas tells them there's no need to do this. They can help him. He just needs to lower the gun. Unfortunately for Thomas Wayne, those were his last words because the man shoots him. Martha Wayne is the next to be attacked. Young Bruce is also about to be harmed, but when the criminal sees his tears, he flees. His enemies may have inflicted countless wounds on his body, but this is the deepest wound of all. Suddenly, Alfred interrupts him, saying it's going to leave a scar. It's not that Bruce doesn't notice. He's just so lost in his memories that he doesn't hear Alfred. A little later, the Gotham City News starts playing. Viewers in the waiting room are urged to leave, as there is unsettling information. The last remaining members of the dwindling Moxon crime family were executed at Lou's restaurant in downtown Gotham tonight. A witness identified the killer as the Joker, apparently continuing his chaotic war against so-called organized crime. A war the Joker began when he first appeared in Gotham decades ago. The Moxon family gained notoriety after being accused of orchestrating the murders of Thomas and Martha Wayne. They were exonerated after a petty thief named Joe Chill confessed to acting alone. Joe Chill is now serving a life sentence at Blackgate Penitentiary. The Joker's real name, of course, remains unknown. A little later, we see Barbara Gordon. After a tough workout, she steps into the shower. As she touches her body, she feels the scar the Joker left when he shot her. This is where we begin to notice the differences between the Jokers. We've already seen the memories of a criminal. Now it's time for a comedian. He just wanted to make a point and raises a toast to crime. Next, we shift to Jason Todd, Red Hood. He's fighting in a cemetery against a gang of criminals. The news continues, and they don't know what to make of all this. A third Joker has been seen tonight. Security cameras captured the recent Arkham Asylum escapee at ACE Chemicals, contradicting previous eyewitness reports of the Joker being seen elsewhere. The details of what happened at the chemical factory remain secret, but sources say bodies have been discovered. The Joker's recent terror spree began earlier this week when the author, Dr. Roger Hintoon, was found stuffed in a janitor's closet at Arkham with a rubber chicken shoved down his throat. Back at the cemetery, Jason Todd finds himself in trouble against the criminals. At the same time, he begins to recall the trauma that has haunted him all his life. The moment when the Joker took a crowbar and beat him with it before taking his life. Meanwhile, the criminals have Jason on the ground. It's time to remove his helmet because they're going to put a bullet in his head. But as he recalls all this, Jason gathers enough strength to recover and take down the criminals. He grabs one by the neck, using him as a shield to take a bullet meant for him. Then he continues attacking, demanding to know where the Joker is. Now Jason grabs another criminal, breaks his arm, and then takes one of his blades and drives it into his head. It's time for Jason to leave. He figured none of these idiots would know where the Joker is, but he needed to warm up, stretch his legs. Now we have the third characteristic of this Joker, the clown. It's time to move on to the Gotham City Police Department. They've been investigating various crimes involving the Joker. His victims are found wearing Red Hood helmets. When the helmets are removed, the victims are found with wide smiles, resembling the Joker. These victims have been discovered outside ACE Chemicals. The people murdered in this manner are none other than members of the Moxon gang. The Gotham City Police Department is interrupted by the Bat. Gordon mentions that they've found 3 crime scenes involving 3 Jokers. He doesn't understand what all this means. He hopes the Bat can shed some light on this madness. What Gordon and the police believe is that they're dealing with Joker impersonators. They've been betting on which crime was committed by the real Joker. While trying to investigate who these people were, they realized that their fingerprints had been erased by the chemicals that whitened their skin. Those same chemicals corrupted any DNA testing, and nerve damage to their facial muscles forced their jaws into smiles, making dental record matches nearly impossible. They can reasonably identify them as resembling the Joker, but obviously, they are not. Batman comments that these guys were probably just vagrants, 3 men chosen to represent the 3 men who were here tonight. Are they leaving a clue, or is this meant to distract them? Because right now, instead of chasing those Jokers, they're here at ACE Chemicals. From what Batman can tell, a truck was stolen from this location. Commissioner Gordon asks what he's talking about. Batgirl arrives and says that he's not talking to Gordon. He's talking to her. And this is where it happened, where the Joker was born. In these chemicals that turned him into that white-skinned clown with the enormous grin. Barbara mentions that half the security cameras aren't working, but the ones that show the Joker looking directly into them. This means the Joker left a witness alive at the Moxon murders and broadcasted the killing of Kalani Apaka. The Joker, or the 3 Jokers, wanted to be seen, but leaving that mystery aside, they find an empty vat that once held who knows what and a missing tanker truck. This means the Joker stole those chemicals and loaded them onto that truck. The commissioner says he'll have everyone search for the truck. What about the other crime scenes? Was the real Joker the one who was here? Who are the other 2? Batman says they don't know yet. Detective Bullock's bet will have to wait until the investigation is complete. Barbara asks if they keep any records at this place. Gordon tells her that paperwork isn't exactly a high priority at ACE Chemicals. Batman comments that, given the 3 corpses, he'd say they were killed in that vat before it was emptied with a mixture similar to the one that created the Joker. But then, what could the Joker want with it? Batman suspects it's to kill a lot of people. At least, that's what he assumes. Either way, they need to find him immediately. Suddenly, the conversation is interrupted. One of the men who had been thrown into the chemicals isn't dead. He starts calling for help and then begins laughing uncontrollably. There's no choice but to restrain him and rush him to the hospital. They have to secure him and make sure nothing happens to him. Batman decides to escort the ambulance to the hospital. Barbara will head to the crime scene involving the comedian. As they move along, Batman tells Barbara that she doesn't have to do this. Batgirl asks if he really thinks she's going to let him go after that maniac alone. The Joker and his substitutes killed many people tonight. She's not going to let him keep hurting himself. Commissioner Gordon shoots her a disapproving look. Could he know that she's Batgirl? Barbara dismisses the idea, saying he's just as disturbed by tonight as the rest of them. Whenever the Joker is involved, everyone prepares for the worst. What kind of look is she supposed to expect? Meanwhile, as they escort the ambulance, the situation with the chemical victim inside begins to escalate. But it's not because he's doing anything. It's because Red Hood has shown up. He demands that this little clown tell him everything he's heard, or he'll find a way to stop his laughing. What did the Joker do to him before whitening his sorry? But this distraction causes the ambulance driver to lose control and crash into the Batmobile. Barbara asks what's going on. Batman says he doesn't know. There's no choice but to activate autopilot. Batman enters the ambulance. Once inside, he He asks Red Hood what he's doing there. Jason says he's getting information. Batman asks if attacking victims is his way of doing that. The man was merely poisoned by the Joker. If his heart rate increases, he'll go into cardiac arrest. He has to let him go. Jason refuses, and the two begin to fight. Outside, Barbara activates a device to blow out the ambulance's tires, trying to bring it to a stop. Meanwhile, we see the Joker driving the tanker he stole from ACE Chemicals. This tank had a broken hose, spilling quite a bit of that chemical. Then we see it arrive at an abandoned house in the middle of nowhere in a forest. When someone opens the door, the Joker comments that he brought a roadkill home to roast, but on the other hand, maybe he needs a bicycle. You've heard it, haven't you? Did you hear it? I wrote it. Two Jokers are face to face in this place. One says that comedians take all the credit for others' work. And by the way, that shirt you're wearing? That's mine. But now, who's taking credit for what's been done to the Jokers? Their greatest act of madness yet, but nothing compared to what's coming. One of them must go inside and listen to what the boss is planning. Well, one of them has to be the boss. There's only one way to stop the laugh. Meanwhile, we return to the Bat, who is using an antidote to counteract the toxins that turned this poor man into a Joker. He's administering a second dose to lower his heart rate. He hopes everything will stabilize soon. Elsewhere, Barbara asks Jason what he's thinking. Red Hood says he was thinking about finding the boss before he kills someone else. Barbara asks how he planned to do that, by interrogating the victims? Jason responds that these are not victims. The information from Joker's thugs indicates that the men Joker picked up and poison came from a social reintegration center. That victim over there has a criminal record, including domestic assault against his own son. He's lucky Jason didn't throw him out of the ambulance. Jason Todd knows Bruce Wayne won't waste the opportunity to lecture him this time either. Batman, realizing Jason was following Joker's trail even before arriving at ACE Chemicals, asks why he didn't share this information earlier. Red Hood replies that he's been trying to track Joker since his escape from Arkham this week. Back in the Joker's hideout, they got the chemicals and have had some fun. But now, what's next? What's next is the same thing they always do. Try to create a better Joker. All three of them are now together. One of them will run the factory, while the other helps with the casting. It's time to give Joker more meaning. One of them says he wants to define things, but he's in favor of giving this a twist. Theater is his specialty, but the other has a good eye for talent. Regardless, they'll settle this with a coin toss. They flip the coin, call heads, and win. The seated boss tells one of them to come with him. He'll be the one to prepare the vat. We return to Batman and Batgirl, who are at Gotham Aquarium. This place has been closed for repairs since a pipe burst 2 days ago. One of the Joker's thugs, Jason, was fighting had a wrench with traces of seawater. Since it was clean, Jason guessed it wasn't from the harbor. It wasn't hard for him to connect it to the aquarium or conclude the thug was responsible for the plumbing issue in the first place. Batman admits Jason did a good job, but says he should have shared that information. As they move forward, Jason remarks that he's never been to this place. Barbara recalls her father used to bring her here when she was a kid. What about Batman? Well, his parents built it. The situation with the three Jokers has everyone on edge. Jason remarks that anyone can see what's really happening. How many times has this happened with a Joker? Has anyone gone insane from it? This is no different. Batman counters, saying they're talking about men and women who were drugged with a vicious toxin. They lost control of themselves. But based on the evidence gathered so far, these three Jokers tonight seem to be in control. It looks like they have motives, even if they're not yet clear. Red Hood comments on Batman's new chest light, saying it's sure to alert everyone nearby. Batman advises him not to assume anything about what they're facing tonight. Everything they've seen so far has been unlike anything before. As they move further, they find that the aquarium's fish have already been infected, including a massive shark. Jason grudgingly admits that's new. Now they know where ACE chemicals are being stored. But why all this? Why make smiling sharks? Red Hood notes that his helmet is detecting multiple security doors opening throughout the facility. They have company. Gaggy arrives, leading a band of criminals from Arkham Asylum. It's been so long. I've been dying to see the Bat again since the Joker told me to come out and play. A fight with the criminals breaks out. Batman is the first to strike. The criminals begin shooting, but their bullets hit the aquarium walls, causing the chemicals to start leaking out. During the fight, Red Hood is battling when Gaggy sneaks up behind him and electrocutes him. The Joker said, "You'd beg me to stop. This is going to be so much fun." But of course, Red Hood won't let that happen. He's the only one having fun here. Red Hood shoots, but the problem is that he misses and hits the aquarium wall, causing the glass to completely break. The huge shark, now with the Joker's smile, goes after Gaggy and devours him in one bite. Red Hood and Barbara think it's all over. What the Joker planned is finished. Batman knows that's not the case. That fish tank wasn't big enough to hold all the stolen ACE chemicals. Someone comes from behind and says he's right. Speaking of fish, why did Batman and Robin stop going fishing together? The Joker boss is here. Robin kept eating all the worms, or should it be the other way around? The boy wonder number 2. The worms ate him after he buried him? The Joker had a fish tank and uses it to land a hard blow on Jason, then grabs him by the helmet and slams him to the ground so he crashes into the chemicals. We need to take off this annoying mask. He wants to look him in the eyes, those tears, that fear. He can't get enough of it. This fight is interrupted when Batman arrives and delivers powerful punches to the Joker. Barbara also jumps into action, and they defeat him effortlessly. This is very familiar to Barbara. They've really finished off one of the Jokers. Batman confirms it. This is his look, his laugh, and also, this is the smiling fish. Barbara says that all of this is wrong and has a question. He knows the Joker better than anyone. He's changed his appearance over the years. His modus operandi is as straight as a river. But is it really him? Batman doesn't answer, and Jason interrupts them. The chemicals clouded his lenses, that's all. But if he wanted to, he would have crushed him himself. Gordon communicates with Batman. Jim says they've captured one of the 3 Jokers. Gordon tells him they've just cornered the second one. They have him at 10th and 7th on Broadway. Batman heads there. He has to find the next Joker, but while he's leaving, they have to secure him. Wait for Arkham Transport to make sure they have him under control because he always has something up his sleeve. Once Batman leaves, Jason and Barbara have him tied up. Speaking to Barbara, Jason says he sounds a little different and also looks a little different than last time. He's thinner. They've never known his real name or where he came from. So how are they supposed to know it's really him? And what if there's always been more than one? I mean, he hasn't used it for many years and can't remember the last time he played with a smiling fish and a deck of sharp cards. The Joker wakes up and says that he hasn't used flowers sprayed with acid for a while, before he manages to hit his target. Barbara stops him in time, so he doesn't cause any harm. The Joker says all of this is so classic. He's the one and true Joker. He can prove it. They just need to check his pockets. The Joker is the hamster wheel, the cycle of pain that traps them all. They can take Red Hood as an example. Has he ever wondered why he uses his old nickname? Who in their right mind would take the identity of their killer? He's right. Red Hood says he took it because he owns what was done to him. He made him this way. He will be his destruction. The Joker says he's pretty brave, even scares him. All of this frustrates Red Hood, who grabs his weapon. Jason agrees. Nothing will change until they break this cycle. Batman wouldn't do this. The Joker says he's right. Batman wouldn't do it at all. But Batman's not here. All the Joker is doing is trying to provoke little Red Hood more. They have to see all these facts. He's attacked people. He broke this kid's skull, killed this Robin, and then Batman arrested him like he's been doing. He took him to Arkham, and that's all that happened until it wasn't. Jason says that when he killed him, he didn't really finish him off. He just made him stronger. The Joker says if he crawled out of the shallow grave he left him in, he came back to fight another day. He survived thanks to his tenacity. Or maybe he turned him into a damn disaster because he pushed him to the limit. Because he wanted to leave him alive. I mean, he can kill him. Well, then there's no chance to do any more damage. And in turn, he can't harm Batman anymore because Batman is all that matters to him. Not like Red Hood. He never matters. Does he remember what he said when he broke his head with that crowbar? When his blood ran into his eyes and his skull cracked? Because he appreciates those words, he will always appreciate them. He said, "Please stop. If you let me live, I'll do anything you say. I'll be your Robin." All this causes a huge laugh from the Joker. He just has to look at little Red Hood, shooting people and making Batman's life miserable. He hasn't realized, but since he became Red Hood, he just became his little Robin. All this brings back memories of the torture he endured at the Joker's hands. Barbara hits him, but Red Hood knows those hits aren't enough. They need to end his life, and he'll do it once and for all, shooting him right in the skull. They've ended the life of the first Joker. Barbara can't believe it. This causes a small smile on Jason's face. At the same time, we see the Joker fall to the ground. Barbara asks what he's done. Red Hood tells her not to tell him, that she didn't want to do this either, after everything he did to her. Barbara says no, she didn't want to. But when was the last time Barbara failed? Now there's a lot of blood on her boots. Barbara starts crying and leaves, but not before telling Jason to go to hell. After all this time, Red Hood has dealt with the Joker, the one responsible for ruining his life. All he hopes is that it's the right one, and we see him standing in front of the Joker's body. We begin with one of the three Jokers arriving at a residence, where he tells his sweetheart that he's home. She greets him back, though she wasn't expecting him so early. But she has to let him know dinner is ready. For the Joker, this is wonderful. She's glad he's happy. But her question for the Joker is, where is Junior? It's time to call the little one. He doesn't want to come down, but if he doesn't, they know how upset his father can get when he comes home. The boy asks why they can't just leave. The lady knows he's upset because his father hasn't been home much, but he loves them, and he's finally come to have dinner. She can only keep him calm for so long. The Joker calls out, saying dinner is getting cold. When the boy comes down, the clown asks why the long face. He seems so sad. His sweetheart tells him it's because octopus isn't his favorite food, and besides he's been such a good boy. For the Joker, this is fantastic. He has to turn that frown upside down. He'll do it with a joke. What does a mama octopus say to her baby before crossing the street? She just tells him to give her a hand. You don't get it, do you? That's too funny. Suddenly, the criminal Joker arrives and asks the clown what he's been doing. The clown says he was having dinner with himself. The criminal tells him he's wasting his time here. This right here is a mannequin, not a real person. There's nothing here but Batman. It was the clown's idea to share their little secrets and leave clues for him to follow, just to make things more fun. One of them is dead, killed. So what are they going to do about it? What happened? Previously, Jason Todd killed the clown Joker. Meanwhile, Batman and Jim Gordon are at a crime scene. Judge Walls has been murdered. The question is, who did it? Was it the Joker? If it was him, why would he do it? He retired years ago. Batman says he didn't retire. He was forced out. He was dirty, accepting bribes from the old Arkham officials to send criminals to the asylum, where security was lax. Judge Walls was responsible for Arkham's revolving door. Not much has changed when it comes to the Joker. Barbara arrives and tells the commissioner that everything changes. Jim asks what she's doing there. Batman had told her to escort one of the three Jokers to Arkham. Once they're alone, Barbara tells Batman that Red Hood is a criminal. He killed the Joker, or at least one of the three. She wants to know what they're going to do about him. Jason shot him in the head, right in front of Barbara. So now, they have to deal with two Jokers and Red Hood. He killed the Joker. He murdered him. Batman says he killed the Joker. That's all they know. Barbara asks, what do you mean a Joker? It was the Joker. Whatever the case, what are they going to do about it? Batman says they can't do anything. If they arrest him for this crime, they'd be forcing him to unmask, and as the only eyewitness, Barbara would have to unmask as well. It's not that simple. What Batman wants to do is talk to him. Barbara doesn't understand how Batman is so calm about this. He should be just as furious as she is. Setting aside the fact that this Joker, whether the original or not, Jason shot a human being tied to a chair. Batman asks her to understand Jason's pain. The Joker hurt him, but he healed wrong. He became more violent, whereas Barbara became stronger. Barbara tells him she could have helped him become stronger. Batman asks if she doesn't think that's all he wanted to do. But back then, he thought Jason was dead. He never forgave himself for leaving him in that grave. Never. Barbara asks why, after knowing he was alive, if he thought Jason was capable of this, he didn't train him again. Why did he wait until now to think Jason needed a conversation? Batman simply says he hoped Jason would be more like Barbara. Elsewhere in the city, Jason is attacking different people with clown tattoos. He gives them a chance to talk and avoid ending up like their friends. They're Joker's parasites, ordered to find a place to hide a large supply of chemicals. Jason wants to know where it is. Well, they don't really need to tell him. The detectors in his helmet are already picking it up. Jason can see everything about this one. He cleans pools. Now, this might make him think Jason will let him go, but he can't allow that. He has to wait for the police to pick him up. Back with Batman and Barbara, the Bat says it's over. Jason would do the worst. A little later, we arrive at Blackgate. Before the police could examine Judge Wall's body, he was bludgeoned to death with his humanitarian award before his dogs reached him. Batman didn't tell Commissioner Gordon because the fingerprints on the award belonged to someone already in Blackgate, Joe Chill. Batman goes to speak to his parents' killer, remembering that moment as he walks down Crime Alley. He remembers Chill killing his parents. Once he reaches the cell, Batman steals himself and breaks the bars to talk to Joe Chill. The problem is he's not there. Barbara arrives and tells him they moved him. That's because he's no longer a regular inmate. He's sick. Later, at Blackgate's hospital, Barbara tells him Joe Chill has been there for 2 months. He is staged for cancer, meaning he couldn't have killed the judge. Batman realizes someone unidentified entered, visited Joe Chill, and took his fingerprints. Barbara asks what connection there is between the Joker and Joe Chill, aside from him. Batman doesn't know. While they talk, Batman realizes Jason has accessed the Batcomputer. He has all the information. Meanwhile, somewhere else in Gotham, Jason has followed the trail. What he finds surprises him. This is a pool where many people are gathered. However, instead of water, it contains a large amount of chemicals. Jason collects a sample for analysis. Red Hood can't believe he beat Batman to this location. The chemicals have been sitting long enough to make the air safe to breathe, so he removes his mask. Jason tries to contact Barbara when suddenly one of the bodies comes to life and grabs his leg. Jason tells the creature to back off and prepares to shoot it. Red Hood easily frees himself, but realizes this was just a distraction. They were expecting him to come. The Jokers arrive and grab Jason from behind. They're not just taking him, they're taking his mask too. He's going to be perfect. A little later, Jason wakes up, now stripped and restrained. He is Jason Todd, a petty thief who should have been handcuffed and arrested. Instead, Batman took him in and made him the second Robin. He was reborn, and then after his death, reborn again. But things happen in threes. For example, the Joker in front of him was the first. Before Batman, this Joker ruled Gotham City. Jason warns him not to get too comfortable, because once he gets free, the Joker in front of him will be next. Suddenly, something starts happening to the Joker. Jason asks him what's wrong, and the Joker says he's going to share a secret about himself. He feels pain when he laughs. Jason asks, so what? Is he trying to say he's the real Joker? The clown wants to ask him a question. Who is the Joker, really? Well, they're going to find out. They've spent a long time trying to answer that question. Who is the Joker? They've identified a judge, a serial killer, a surgeon, all fairly predictable and uninspired. But then there's Jason. One of the Jokers asks Jason a question. Why would he wear that helmet and call himself Red Hood after everything they did to him? Jason isn't concerned, calling them mere imitators. The Joker asks, is this a joke to you? He reminds Jason that they left him with brain damage and permanent nerve pain. Physical and emotional trauma so severe that the only relief he finds is in inflicting pain on others. They're more alike than either of them dares to admit. But Jason already knows that. He nearly died because of Batman, and he hates him for it. The Joker hates Batman too. Jason may hate a lot of people, but he hates Batman the most. Batman needs a better Joker, but to put it simply, Jason isn't bright enough for the job. As one of the Jokers mocks Jason, another appears with a crowbar, wearing Jason's helmet. It's time for a sequel. The Jokers had high hopes for Jason. It would have made sense. First Red Hood, then the Joker. But that's not in the cards. As they beat him, they laugh, saying this is more fun than the first time. Jason sarcastically asks them to ensure he stays dead this time. The Joker replies, why would I do that? I still believe in you. He hopes Jason will eventually rise up and prove them wrong, just like the Joker did. Elsewhere, Batman and Batgirl arrive at the location where Jason was being held, only to find a horde of Jokers. Batman realizes what's happening. They must have Jason. There's no time to waste. They need to retreat and move quickly. As they navigate through the building, they find a crowbar. Jason Todd is utterly broken, just like the first time he was killed. Batman asks Jason if he's okay. Red Hood snaps at him not to touch him. The beatings he endured helped him understand everything. First, you're Red Hood, then you become the Joker. There are multiple Jokers out there, and they've been around for a long time. They want to create another Joker, someone who knows and hates Batman. Jason blames Bruce for all of this. He put him on this path, abandoning him in the dirt and replacing him with one Robin after another without hesitation. Jason challenges Barbara, "Are you going to arrest me for killing the Joker? Go ahead, do it. What are you waiting for?" Barbara hugs him instead. All she wants now is to get him somewhere safe. Back at Barbara's apartment, Jason is resting. Batman tells Barbara he has to leave to follow a lead. Barbara can't understand why he's leaving when Jason could have died tonight, and he killed someone. She needs him here. Batman insists Jason is safe now, but the rest of Gotham isn't. Later, Jason wakes up and notices Barbara's wheelchair, her therapy calendar, and books about managing chronic pain. When they talk, Jason admits he's never felt okay. What the Joker said about him being on the path to becoming like them for years wasn't wrong. But he doesn't want to be like them. He really doesn't. Barbara believes him. Jason asks her if seeing the wheelchair, the calendar, and the books hurts her. Barbara admits it used to, but healing with the help of her father, therapy, and so many others who cared for her changed that. She tries to see it positively. It was a tragedy, but she moved on with the love of those around her. Jason laments that he never had that. Barbara reminds him it's because everyone thought he was dead, including Bruce. By the time he returned as Red Hood, he had already reinvented himself. Jason didn't know anyone wanted to help him, but Barbara assures him they did. She holds his hand, and they kiss. Barbara pulls away, regretting the kiss. She just wanted him to know someone cares about him. Jason admits he's never felt like anyone did. Barbara apologizes again, saying it was just a moment, and they need to move on with the case. The Joker has already hurt too many people, including Jason. Meanwhile, Batman investigates the three Jokers in the Batcave. He examines their files: the clown, the criminal, and the comedian. Something on the map catches his attention: Alaska. Elsewhere, the Joker approaches Joe Chill. Joe asks him what he wants. The Joker tells him to relax. He needs his hat. Now they're ready. Lights, camera, action. The Joker has taken a camera and wants Joe Chill to finally confess. He must tell the truth and explain why he really killed Thomas and Martha Wayne. There are three Jokers. One of them is the criminal, another is the clown, who has already been killed by Red Hood, and the last one is the comedian. That means two of the three Jokers are still out there. But what led us to all of this? Well, for Batman, it's been clear for a long time. Not only have there been these three Jokers, but many more. The chemist, the inventor, the fisherman, the actor, the painter, the thief, among others. Batman knows that the three Jokers have been kidnapping people from all over the city in an attempt to create a better Joker. Barbara asks what that's supposed to mean. Red Hood tells her that the Joker has been deceiving them for years. According to what they told Jason, the next Joker is someone with an identity behind the smile. They left Jason alive so they could know the truth. The three Jokers wanted them to discover all of this. He just doesn't understand why. Jason tells them that there are two left, and when he has them in his sights, there will be none. Batman is too weak to do what needs to be done. Therefore, Red Hood will be the one to take charge. Batman stops his son and tells him that it's enough. Barbara tries to stop them. The Bat asks if she really thinks he hasn't wanted to put a bullet in the Joker's head as well. After everything the Joker has done to Jason and Barbara, for Red Hood, none of that matters because Batman never did what needed to be done. Instead, Jason did. But what is he going to do now? Arrest him? He'll go to court, and his identity will be exposed. Then Barbara's identity will also be revealed because she will have to testify. She was the only witness. Jason knows the truth. What is really stopping Batman from doing something about it? his own identity because it would be exposed as well. He can't take the risk, even if Jason's identity is compromised. Barbara pleads with Jason to stop. Jason tells Batgirl not to take Batman's side. She needs to see how manipulative he is, to see how far he has dragged them down. Barbara tells him that she has her own perspective and understands his, but Bruce has always been trying to help them. However, for Jason, that doesn't make sense. What is he going to do? Lock him up down here? Is he going to try to imprison him and forget about him like he did after his death? Jason doesn't understand, and he never will. They agreed to work together on this. They need to start over and do this again. The Joker has exposed dozens of people to these chemicals. Criminals, doctors, different kinds of people. Each one is a candidate to become a better Joker, a failed chemist, a deranged stalker. None have survived the process except these three. The criminal, as Jason describes him, seems more focused on his goal and less interested in theatrics. He reminds him of their first confrontations. The clown, whom they fought at the aquarium, embraced a deadly campaign like the host of a children's show. The comedian, there's something beneath that smile, a more sadistic side than the others. Barbara asks what Batman is thinking. Could one of these three be the original? Batman tells her yes, and that one of them must have created the other two at some point. It's all a joke to him, or maybe it's not. Maybe he made the other two to hide his true identity. Maybe they can finally discover who the Joker really is. Jason says he's probably a nobody. Barbara asks if there's anything else Batman can tell them. Batman says that if he regrets failing Jason, he has to let him help find a better path, a new identity, to leave Red Hood behind. Jason refuses. They just need to focus on stopping the two remaining Jokers. He doesn't need anyone's help because he is fine. He just wants to find the Jokers and end this. But first, Bruce has to answer Barbara's question. Does he have anything else to add? It seemed like he was about to tell them something, but he hesitates and closes his folder, saying no. Jason obviously doesn't believe him. He knows Batman knows the Joker's real name, doesn't he? Batman tells him that if he knew, Jason would know too. Suddenly, the alarms start blaring. We are at Blackgate Prison. Gordon tells the Bat that they have taken him. They took Joe Chill. Batman wants to see his cell. Upon entering, he finds a small library. While searching, he finds a letter addressed to Bruce Wayne. Suddenly, an officer interrupts Batman to tell him that Joe Chill wrote letters all the time. Then he asks if Batman is here to catch him. He's not talking about Joe Chill. He means the Joker. Batman asks if these are letters. Why weren't they mailed? The guard tells him he'll have to ask Reverend Evans. Meanwhile, outside the prison, Jason tries to talk to Barbara. He knows he messed up. Barbara asks what he means by that. Does he understand the position he put them in when he killed the Joker? They are trapped. They have no choice but to let this go. Jason tells her that he will never do something like that again. Barbara hopes so because next time, she will unmask him if necessary. Back with Batman, he meets with Reverend Evans, who tells him that Joe was remorseful for what he had done. Batman tells him that Joe Chill wrote a dozen letters to Bruce Wayne apologizing, but upon reviewing them, he can tell that none of the letters were finished. Evans tells him that Joseph dropped out of school at 13. He was making an effort to write the letters there, but his learning difficulties slowed him down. Batman asks if Joe only started writing them when he got sick and wanted to repent. The doctor tells him no, Joe started writing them long before he became ill. He was truly a changed man. He often spoke of the darkness within his soul, a darkness he tried to understand. He never denied what he had done. In fact, he tried to explain it, and Batman can find the answers in these letters. But Batman wonders, why would someone want to take him? What do they want him for? What is the purpose of his abduction? Batman doesn't understand yet, but he will find out. These are tickets to the Monarch Theater. The show is The Mark of Zorro. A little later, we see Batman, Barbara, and Jason arriving outside the theater. To get inside and get a better vantage point, the three decide to split up. Batman is on the main stage. Everything is quiet when a bright light turns on. A voice asks ladies and gentlemen to take their seats. The show is about to begin. Then a loud laugh is heard. The Joker tells Joe Chill that it's time to confess. Why did he really kill Thomas and Martha Wayne? Joe tells him he doesn't know what he means, but the Joker knows that of course he does. He has read all of his letters, the minister's notes. He has seen the light. Meanwhile, as Batman watches the short film, elsewhere in the theater, Barbara and Jason are being attacked. As if that weren't enough, someone appears behind Batman. Everything has led to this moment. This is the Joker, the criminal. The two of them, along with Joe Chill, at a crime scene. This means the other two are present as well, the cripple and the boy. He's been thinking about them. But as he knows, the boy lacks sophistication, and the girl has too much heart. So he chose a killer. On the screen, the Joker asks Joe to give him something to hold on to. Joe begins. The truth is, when he saw the Waynes walking down the alley, he knew who they were. He hated them for what they had. They had everything. Suddenly, Batman uses his grappling gun and appears before the Joker. Obviously, the criminal was already prepared. He tells Batman to keep his distance until he says so. Otherwise, he'll activate the bombs. Batman tells him that he knows what he wants. He wants to make a Joker and believes that person could be Joe Chill. The Joker asks how he couldn't. Back with Barbara, she is fighting against the other clowns. She's in trouble when someone arrives from behind and attacks. He takes them down with a single gunshot. Barbara thought it was Red Hood, but it was actually the other Joker, who politely asks her to smile. Back with the criminal, he tells Batman that he wants him to understand why he's making a new Joker, because he wants to mean more to Batman, more than anyone. Right now, he's nothing but undefined chaos. He needs to be more. He needs to be everything to Batman. Joe can do it. He can be the Joker that truly matters. Batman tells him he's just a sick old man. The Joker doesn't think that matters. Besides, he bets that this little chemical bath he's about to give him will put him in remission. A simple exchange, physical health for mental health. Before he lowers him in, the recordings continue. The Joker doesn't want to ask Joe again. He needs to say more. Joe continues. The Waynes, he imagined there were people like him because of people like them. He was angry, bitter, lost. He thought about taking what they had from them. But there was something special about that boy. He didn't see his son with them, not until it was too late. Back with Jason, he is about to help Barbara. Unfortunately for Red Hood, he doesn't realize that the Joker has arrived behind him and shoots him in the shoulder. The Joker asks, "What's next? Will your brains be on the floor?" Barbara gets angry and tries to attack him. She grabs his camera and smashes it against his face, demanding that he smile. Back with the criminal, he's ready to blow it all up. As soon as Joe Chill is reborn, he can rest in peace. Batman lunges at the Joker. The recordings are still playing. Before Joe Chill realized it, the gun was already firing. He later discovered who the Waynes really were. They were people who tried to help Gotham with everything they had. They were good people, and he took them away from their son. After all these years, he still doesn't know how to say it. He's sorry. While the recordings play, Batman is fighting the Joker. Everything spirals out of control, and the lighter the criminal was holding falls into the chemicals, causing an explosion. The entire theater begins to burn in flames. At the top, the criminal pulls out a knife to attack Batman. Meanwhile, the comedian picks up his camera again. He can't remember the last time he had this much fun. This is just the beginning. All these explosions are nothing but a distraction, an opportunity for the Joker to escape. Meanwhile, the criminal tells Batman that this isn't over. This keeps happening. Another criminal falls into the fiery bath. Another Joker is born. The Joker uses his knife to drop Joe Chill. There goes a new Joker. But Batman isn't willing to let that happen, even though Joe Chill is the man who killed his parents. So he uses his grappling gun to immediately descend and catch him. Meanwhile, the criminal tries to escape. Unfortunately for him, due to collateral damage, the exit is blocked by burning debris. To make things worse, Batman arrives behind him with Joe, delivering a hard kick that sends him flying out of the theater. While they're unconscious, Batman stands in front of Joe Chill. Chill tells him that he knows who he is. They talked about the Bat in Blackgate. He knows why he's here and wonders if he's going to kill him. Batman tells him no. Despite everything, Joe Chill knows he deserves it. He truly regrets it. Batman says nothing. The theater continues collapsing, and Chill is about to be caught in the destruction. Once again, Batman saves him. Chill thanks him, and Batman simply responds, "It was nothing." All of this only makes the Joker laugh. He had hoped to extend this game a little longer, but now they're all going down together. All these wounds really hurt. It's quite painful to laugh at this moment. But before the criminal can do anything, someone shoots him. It's the other Joker, the comedian. So, there was only ever one Joker. Only one remains. He drops the gun and asks Batman to take him in. He wants to get off this crazy ride. Once everything is over, Jason asks Barbara what all of this was. Are they just going to take the Joker back to Arkham and then send Jason home? Jason asks Barbara to give him a chance and to give it to herself one. She thinks he's interpreting what happened between them very differently. She's sorry. Jason tells her she's right, and he's sorry too. After that, Red Hood walks away. Gordon arrives and asks Barbara if she's okay. He knows that facing the boss can't be easy for her. She has kept her mouth shut about all of this, but she has something to say. He has her support just as much as Batman does. But Red Hood is not someone she should be involved with. Barbara walks away and tells her father that it's none of his business. Meanwhile, inside a patrol car, Batman is sitting in front of the Joker. The Joker asks him to look. After all this drama, doesn't Bruce feel better? He knows everything. Bruce Wayne, Barbara Gordon, Jason Todd. He knows that Batman knows, but he doesn't care. He won't tell. The world will never know his real name. He could stop doing this if they did. Batman asks him what he wants. What the Joker certainly wants is the others. The clown that is Robin shot. He just wanted to laugh at others suffering as something vulgar. The criminal, that old man, was so delusional. This whole grand idea of creating a better Joker, that was crazy, wasn't it? A defined Joker, one with a name, an identity, that would ruin the definition of the Joker. That's why he regrets having done it. Or is it that the criminal regrets having done it? He doesn't know. Batman asks what the punchline is. The Joker tells him it's not a joke. There is no final twist, not until he decides to put his hand on the knife in his heart. The criminal was wrong. He is chaos. He is a devil, and he is nothing to Batman and to the whole world. It's not the Joker who is broken. Batman is the one who is broken by a pain greater than anything. So, he convinced them that he was the perfect new clown prince of crime, the man who sent Gotham to hell. Batman believed it, and he let it all happen just as the Joker knew it would. He saved the man who killed Thomas and Martha Wayne, the man who sent Gotham, and him spiraling down the drain. From despair, he saw what had become of the old and pathetic Chill. He felt his pain, and that eased Batman's own pain. What the Joker is trying to say is that, at this moment, he has healed Batman's greatest wound. So now he can be Batman's greatest pain. Not the man who killed his parents, not the death of his parents. So the Joker is going to cut him. He's going to hurt him. He will keep twisting that knife until the day they both die together. Sometime later, we're in the hospital. Bruce Wayne arrives at Joe Chill's bedside. Chill is at the brink of death. Bruce takes the hand of the man who killed his parents, the man who essentially made him Batman. As he holds his hand, the murderer dies. Sometime later, we see a gravestone with the name Joe Chill, with a particular focus on the letter J. Even more time passes. We are somewhere in Alaska. The world can never know your real name. It's over for now, Bruce. Batman tells Alfred that even if Jason had killed all of them, it would never be over for Barbara or for him. He knows that perfectly well. But what does one of the letters say? Before reading that letter, let's first read the one Jason wrote to Barbara. Dear Barbara, I want to make a change, but I can't do it without you. I know I've seemed cold and distant, but I know you understand why. I've always admired you, Barbara. Your strength, your determination, your heart. You think what happened was a mistake, just a moment. But I think we could be great together. I really believe that. I'll stop being Red Hood for us. I can be something else. Or I can just be Jason. All I need is a chance to prove to you that I can be better. I'll dedicate my life to making you proud. If you don't think I'm worth a chance, if it was all just getting caught up in the moment, then you have to throw this letter away. I will never mention it again. I will stop no matter what happens. Sincerely, Jason. Now back to another letter the Joker had written. Bruce begins reading. I hate you. This hatred comes from someone he doesn't even know. Alfred wonders if they will ever find out who he really is. Batman already knows. And we see memories of a man arguing with a woman. She had told him everything he was. The man knows what she said or how she said it. He couldn't get a job like that. Are they not going to feed the baby? She thinks he doesn't care? Batman doesn't want people to think that he does. But he is Batman. He knew the Joker's name a week after they met. Back in the memories of the pregnant woman, she was with the police, telling them that she would never let her husband abandon her. She couldn't bear to think of what he would do to the baby. The police officer told her that everything would be fine. The guys had gathered some money. They would help her however they could. Here is where we return to the killing joke. The police arrived at the scene where the man was about to rob the ACE chemicals plant. The officer regretted having to deliver this bad news. His wife had an accident this morning. Apparently, she was testing a baby bottle warmer. There was an electrical short circuit, and well, she died. But in reality, all of this was a lie. His wife and the police had deceived him. Batman knows that no one can ever know this, because if the world finds out, his family will never be left alone. The press will find them. The Joker will find them. So yes, he knows the Joker's name. He even knows exactly where he lives at this very moment. But the Joker's name doesn't matter. It never did. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm TJ Prime, and see you in the next video.